Welcome in to the Punt and Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside by my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at Fromm. Jake, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Appreciate everybody continuing to tune in as we are syndicated all over Atlanta on Atlanta News First and, of course, the Peachtree Sports Network. What a week we have on deck. It's Masters Week here in Georgia. It's also spring break for a lot of counties in the metro Atlanta area. Spring practice is rocking and rolling, and we are continuing on with our off-season interview series, and we have an amazing guest for everybody today. It is a very, very close friend of mine. He was my roommate at the University of Georgia, a 4-year starter on the offensive line for the Georgia Bulldogs. He went on to an incredible 8-year career with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's back in Atlanta. He's doing a bunch of cool and good stuff. Thrilled to have him join the podcast. And if you're a longtime Punt and Pass listener, he's no stranger to you. It's the one and only Clint Boling. Clint, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you having me, man. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. I never really get to talk to Drew much, so I'm excited to be able to talk some more with him.
Yeah, man. No, Clint and I are close friends. We play a lot of golf together. We've known each other for a very, very long time. So thrilled that he could join us. Yes, we're going to get into your football career. I want to talk about your time in Athens. I want to talk about all the great times you had up in Cincinnati as well with the Bengals. But first things first, and I want to talk about what you're doing now in your career, because I think a lot of people will find that very fascinating. First things first, it is Masters Week in Georgia. We're recording this early in the week, but the weather forecast in Augusta looks absolutely perfect. First time since 1994, guys, that neither Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, Tiger and Phil Mickelson won't be playing in the Masters tournament, but sure to be a fun week, man. Jake, are you heading over at all? Are you going to head to Augusta?
I don't know yet. I have a couple possibilities still in the works. You know how you always get that late phone call, the night before, like, hey, can you make it? Can you show up? But I guess the whole idea about this podcast, no disrespect to Clint here, like I was under the impression that this was a Masters podcast, So no disrespect to Clint here.
Honestly, Jake, I was too.
So can't wait to dive in and talk about you, Clint. Thanks for being here. But man, I'm going to be glued on to the iPad all week. The Masters app is absolutely incredible. Get to follow around all the guys that you want to follow. So it's going to be fun. I'm so nutty and addicted to Masters content. Like I had to watch the women's amateur this weekend. So man, I love it. Course looks great. Like you said, Drew, the weather's going to be absolutely incredible. We did get a little bit of rain here yesterday on Easter, but yeah, man, it's going to be great. Can't wait.
Clint, what are you looking forward to the most for the Masters this week? Anybody you've had kind of soft circle? Because I know you're in a lot of pools, maybe. I know you and I will definitely be talking a bunch about what to expect when it comes to Augusta. But I feel like this year the field is relatively open. I mean, Scotty Scheffler not really playing his best. Rory McIlroy, what's he going to be like trying to defend his title? Then you got a bunch of guys who are playing really good golf.
I mean, the course is going to be, it feels like we got some rain the other day, but that's it. I mean, there's nothing in the horizon. I mean, maybe the course gets a little baked out, firm, fast, tough conditions. Maybe they get those greens rolling pretty good. So, I mean, to me, it's one of the best tests of golf. It's fun. The tournament, the course, everything about it is awesome. I got my eyes on a couple guys. One of the first people I like Ludwig. I think it's just a matter of time until he wins a Masters. I think he has the smoothest swing on tour. He's a young guy. He's got a little swagger to him, I think. So, I think he was in it late in the Players and maybe had a little late down the stretch, fell apart a little bit, but he's a guy that I like. I think he's, like I said, I think it's just a matter of time until he wins a tournament at Augusta.
Yeah, he's been there, but he's been falling apart on Sundays a little bit. So, I really would love to see him, be a guy who shows up on Sunday, but it's been a little tough for him to put it together on Sunday. And you have to play good Sunday at Augusta.
Back nine is when the tournament starts. Everybody knows that. Ludwig shot a 40 on the back nine at TPC Sawgrass when he had a big lead heading into the final stretch of the Players' Championship. Clint, what is your handicap right now? We need to discuss this because you're playing some good golf and you're playing a lot of it. I'd love for you to tell the people what Clint Boling's handicap is at. It wouldn't hurt to let everybody know what your current weight is as well, because this is a guy who is well over 300 pounds. I'm giving you.
You want me to take my shirt off too?
You can do that. This is going to be on TV.
Way.
But listen,
No
your playing
way.
weight was what, 305 to 315. You obviously couldn't play a lot of golf when you were in season as an offensive lineman. I'm giving you some flowers here. You look great. The golf swing is great. The scores are trending downwards. Give me an update on what people could expect if they run into you at a charity tournament this spring.
Yeah, I was about 310-ish when I played football. Played a ton of golf in the off season, but you could just never really play year round, put it all together. You know, you'd play 5-6 months a bunch, and then I wouldn't pick up a club during the season. But depends on when you ask me, but I like to say about 260 is where I like to say it is. And when I retired, I was probably about a 9 or 10 index, and I'm probably around a 3 right now, 3 and change. So it's amazing what, losing some weight, don't have football tying you down, and you just get to go grind a little bit at the golf course. It's amazing what some practice will do, makes you better.
How much could we squeeze out of that 3 right now on your index? Are you trying, is this an active goal to get down towards a scratch? Do you like being a 3 and catching shots from all the buddies you play with?
The lowest I got down to was a 2. I didn't really like that land. There's some good golfers there. I'm not a manipulator. I plug in my scores, whatever it is. Like, I'm not some guys like, I'm going to be a 6 when I'm really a 3, or I want to be a scratch when I'm really a 3. I'm just going to play, and it is what it is.
What's your practice regimen? Jake and I have been having a big debate about this. We had Harris English on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Clint, I know you're friends with Harris as well. Harris is telling us, like, just chip and putt. I mean, you're athletes. You can swing the golf club. You'll be able to go find it around the greens is where you're going to make up your scores. And then 3 days later, Jake Fromm is literally texting Harris English screenshots of a ball monitor bragging about his ball speed and driver carry. Are you a guy that goes to the range and just pounds drivers all day?
No. When I was practicing, like, early in retirement, I was grinding, getting lessons, chipping, putting, and now I would say I just play more than anything. If I have some free time, I might hit balls for an hour. 20 minutes is on the range, and the other 20-40 minutes is on chipping and putting. Like Harris said, man, the difference between those guys on tour and the Korn Ferry guys and guys is 100 yards and in. They're all just dialed at that range. They're chipping, putting, they're getting up and down from anywhere, and they're all smashing the ball just like Jake is. But the difference between those guys is they can roll some putts.
That's right.
So Drew, thanks for teeing me up on that. I really appreciated that. I really wanted to get that off my chest. And I also did not expect to show up on the podcast today and be the worst golfer out of the group. I cannot wait to play with Clint. I'm working on getting my number down as we speak. And I did have the intent this past Friday to go and roll some putts and do some chipping. But man, one of my buddies was there, and he had the launch monitor. And I'm like, dude, I have to know. Just got the new mirror clubs. I really have no idea kind of where my yardages are. So of course, anytime you have a launch monitor out, the driver has to come. Of course. So driver comes out, and of course we got pictures to prove that it's real. Cruising at mid 180s.
I see a ball speed of 192 here with a 334 carry on a driver. I mean, that is highly impressive. There's no doubt about it. Now, depending on where it went, if it was straight, if it was 70 yards to the right, that's another story. But that's some serious ball speed.
Well. Okay, so if you do look at that, so there is some clarification here. So you will see 7.8 degrees of pull here on this launch monitor. Okay, that didn't entirely paint the whole picture, because what was happening was the launch monitor went down in the direction we wanted to hit the ball. Well, there was folks down there at the other end of the driving range, and they were getting lessons. So I hit my first ball, 185 ball speed that carries 340. And I'm like, we cannot hit in that direction anymore.
Yeah,
so we
tail it
moved
back.
our aiming point. So that is
Gotcha.
why you have the 7.8 degrees of pull
Gotcha.
on that one. So I wanted to get that off my chest. Man, I was so proud to send it to you and Harry in the group text.
What did you do for the rest of the time? You just hit that one and then you're like, I'm done. That's the difference. Those guys can do that thing over and over.
They can. Hey, but you would be proud of me though. So we did tone it down and work it back down. And so I got the wedges in my hand and I tried to do the hip to hip, rib to rib, shoulder and full, and try to get some yardages that I felt comfortable with. Because it is about 100 yards an in. Like sure. I can get off the tee box. I'm pretty solid with my irons. But man, I'll 3-putt in a heartbeat. So I'm just instruction.
Yeah, that lab putter is not going to save you like you think it's going to. But
hey,
look at us.
We're working on a different grip right now, so we'll see.
There you go. Look at us, 3 football guys.
Get to the claw, man. The claw grip.
Gotta go to the claw.
I can't make the claw work. I don't know. It just doesn't feel comfortable for me. Don't know what it is. Clint, when you were playing in the league, Drew knows this too, during OTAs, like, were you a golf nut? Like, as soon as you got done in the spring, hey, buddies, hey, where are we playing today? Or, hey, who's got the tee time? Were you one of those guys?
Yeah, we were playing a ton during the off season. OTAs, we had a group of guys. We were playing wherever we could get on. I remember one year we did it once the training camp started. Me and a couple buddies, we had an off day, first off day of training camp. Me and 2 other teammates we're at a club up in Cincinnati. It's hot. We're sore. We're tired. We made it 3 holes, and we look at each other like, what are we doing, dude? Let's just go home. And I just never did it again. I would never play during the season. But but once the season was over, like January to end of July, I mean, I was playing as much as I could.
That actually cracks me up about that story, because anytime I asked like a lineman during camp on an off day, hey, you want to play? They're like, no, of course not. Like I'm grinding out here. I'm dying. My body hurts.
I'm going to go lay on the couch for the next 12 hours till we got to go do this the next day.
Absolutely. I'm going to, air conditioning turned all the way down. I'm going to lay on the couch. I'm going to watch movies, and I'm going to order DoorDash all day long.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get touched at practice, and then Drew doesn't get touched when he actually plays football, not even alone in practice. So body was feeling a little bit different during training camp in the season than you 2 boys.
No, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. All right, look at us. 3 football guys talking about golf. It's golf season. Let's bring it back to the Masters a little bit. Clint, have you ever been to Augusta National Golf Club? Have you ever gotten on the grounds of Augusta National for a Masters round?
I have not. I've been to the tournament a few times. Drew and I have been to the tournament together a few times. That was a fun. We did a little overnight deal, and that was a fun night. We had a good time. I have not gotten to play it. I felt like that was a lead-in question, knowing that you recently got to do it.
He teed himself
up.
Have
you gotten to do it? You are. I mean,
I didn't ask if you played. I asked if you've been, because I think a big thing for people who watch on TV and those who have gotten on the grounds of Augusta National, you understand what the golf course is like, the undulation, the greens, the scale of the golf course. I mean, it is pretty spectacular when you have the opportunity to get out there and witness it, even for a Masters round.
TV truly does not do it justice. I mean, you watch that thing on TV for years, and then when you get to set foot on property for the first time, you're just blown away by how much undulation there is, the hills, the walking. I mean, it's how pristine everything is. I mean, it is legitimately some of the nicest piece of property in the world. And it's hard to justify that on TV. I mean, they make it look nice and everything, but until you see it in person, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, even the first hole, you tee off, you go down, you come back up, and then like the green is, I mean, it's just tiered. It's got all kind of stuff in it. Been a couple times. I got a cool master story. I was in college, and this is during the spring, obviously around Masters time, and so spring ball was happening. So me and my buddies, we got done with practice. Got the guys together. Hey, we got a cool spot. We go fishing. It's got a cabin on it. Take like 5 or 6 guys. Got a couple different boats down there, catching fish. Awesome. Having a great time. My dad calls me that afternoon. I'm on the boat. I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock. It's getting dark. He goes, hey, I got us tickets to go to the Masters tomorrow. It's Saturday afternoon, tomorrow's Sunday, and the year is 2019. And so I'm like, Dad, man, I've set this whole thing up. I can't go. Anyway, it being 2019 Sunday, and guess who wins?
Oh, Tiger.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Tiger wins. So like
sick.
I missed out. I said no. And like that was the dumbest thing I ever could have done. But like I just felt responsible for, all the guys down there. Like I couldn't just leave them hanging high and dry. And yeah, man, really wish I would have gone. They probably would have. But I guess I'll never do that again. So if I get the call this week, hey, see ya. I'm going.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a baby shower on Saturday, and I've already prepped my wife. I'm like, honey, if I get a call, it's like playing football. You get a call, you got to go.
Yeah, what are you expected to do at a baby shower? You got to go to the Masters. I'll tell you this story. I just heard this story last week. So you know how Augusta National has been cracking down big time on the badges and the third-party marketplaces. So I had lunch with a guy last week. He went a year ago at a hospitality house. His company had it all set up. You go, you had the night that you're going to stay, you're going to go to the tournament the next day. They provide you the badges the night before. You come back to the house, you return the badge, you're on your way. The next group comes in. He said him and his buddy, there in official capacity with this company, hospitality house, nice setup. They get their badges the night before. They get their directions. Hey, you guys have to be back here 7 p.m., return the badges, and then we're going to give them to the next people. They get to the gate. They check the badges. As soon as the badges get checked, somebody comes over and says, guys, come with me. They get put into an interrogation room at Augusta National Golf Club. They said this guy was grilling them for like 30 minutes. Who do you work for? Where'd you get the passes? How much money did you get the passes for? Who had these passes yesterday? Because now all the badges have an RFID chip in them, right? So the Augusta National locates where the badges are on property, but then where they go off property. And I guess they had just noticed that however many badges it was, say 50, were ending up at this same house every single night and then being dispersed back out on property every single day. So they had to go through this long interrogation. They were finally allowed onto the property. You don't have your phones on you. So like they go back to the hospitality house afterwards and they're kind of debriefing them. Hey, here's what happened. We got interrogated. We don't have our badges. They took those badges. And I guess the hospitality company was able to, make it right with Augusta National and explain to them we're not selling them on a third party, but they have cracked down big time. I saw some stuff on social media this week as well, guys, of people who won the lottery. They have not placed them on third-party marketplaces, and they're getting emails saying, like, we've noticed that yours is on a third-party marketplace. Those tickets have been canceled, and you cannot come to the Masters. So, I don't know. That'd be crazy, but, Clint, if you spent a couple grand to go to the Masters and you checked in and they said you can't come in, you're out for life, that would not be fun.
I'd never go back. I'd be pissed. I'd hold a grudge for the rest of my life. I would probably be like, I wouldn't watch it on TV, but they run a tight ship, man. Like just even everything that they do there, it's super efficient. Like the ticket stuff is pretty wild. Like, I understand what they're trying to prevent, but I mean, I remember going to the line in the bathroom there and they just have guys in there hustling people in and out. I mean, they're almost washing your hands for you, trying to make everything as efficient as possible. I mean, it's unreal how much stuff they got going on there.
So one of the big pieces of news heading into Masters Week is that Jason Kelce is going to be on the ESPN broadcast for the par 3 contest on Wednesday. Now, we went to social media. A lot of people were like, why is Jason Kelce doing the Masters? Do we really need more Jason Kelce? But the better story here is Clint Boling and Jason Kelce have a past. Explain to everybody how you know Jason Kelce, Clint.
We were actually roommates at the combine together.
That's awesome. I just find that fascinating.
We check in at the combine. Obviously, I have no clue who he is, and he doesn't know who I am. And you just get this random roommate for the next 2 or 3 nights, whatever it was. And he had something in his system that was just tearing him up, and he could not stop going to the bathroom, like middle of the night, like running there. He's like, "Oh, sorry, man." I'm like, "Oh, you're good, dude."
I mean, what else do you say? Like, I mean, you're good.
I completely get it. Like, I've been there before, man. And so we've shared that story. Obviously, we've crossed paths in some different ways over the years, but he's a big personality. He's a character. He's got a lot going on in the media world these days.
Man, that's a pretty cool story. Just you kind of bring me back to combine days. How many days were you at the combine, and was it as grueling back in the day? Do you think? I mean, I don't know. My experience, it was just a long, drawn out process. They poked and prodded you, for 4 days leading up to it. Was it still like that back then?
Yeah, it was. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, it's a true meat market. Like you're just bringing in like cows and you're auctioning them off. Like you're
Did
walking
you have to
through.
get up on the stage and
Yeah,
do
that
do
was that.
okay?
I had to do that at the Senior Bowl too. That was like you get up there in your underwear, and that
Oh
was
yeah.
just it's legit. But it's just like you said, the medical stuff and the meeting of the teams is more important than the on the field stuff. Like the on the field stuff is literally like, especially for linemen, it's like don't fall over doing the 3-cone drill, and you'll be fine. Like they don't care what you run, they don't care what your time is. Like just look athletic, but the hard part is you do all that, it's a day of medical testing, then it's a day of meeting with teams, and then it's like you're there for 2.5 days, and then on the last day they're like, all right, go run your 40 and do all this athletic stuff. And you're like, man, I've been sitting in meeting rooms and doctors' offices for the last 48 hours, and they just expect you to go, run a
Perform
40
your
and
best.
yeah, go perform your best. And so it's a very unique process. I'll put it that way.
Did you have any idea that the Cincinnati Bengals were kind of circling the waters, or at least interested in you? You ended up being one of the first picks in the 4th round for the Cincinnati Bengals back in the 2011 NFL draft. Was that one of the spots that you thought you might end up at? They had a bunch of Georgia guys on their roster at the time, and I think even cooler, your rookie class was really elite with the Bengals.
Yeah, we had a good one. It was AJ Green, Andy Dalton, and myself on the offensive side of the ball. But I had almost next to no communication with them leading into the draft. I played in the Senior Bowl. I was obviously on the South team. Our coaching staff was the Buffalo Bills, and then the Bengals were the North team's coaching staff. So towards the back end of that week, you have a day, or they set aside time for you to meet with the other team. So I had a 20-minute meeting with the Cincinnati Bengals O-line coach at the Senior Bowl, and that was my only interaction with him. I never talked with the head coach or O-line coach or offensive coordinator, any scouts again. And so I kind of had my thought that a couple other different teams were gonna be in the market, but I got a phone call from a 513 area code, and I was like, I don't know who this is. So it was just that's just the way they operate. They're they have a little bit smaller scouting staff than most organizations, so they probably keep everything pretty tight to the vest and have their own research and the way that they handle things. And so I didn't talk to them a whole lot going in through that process.
One of my favorite stories. Sorry, Jake. This is a good one, though. I promise. One of my favorite stories of Clint. He played with AJ Green at Georgia, 3-4 years at Georgia, and then they get drafted together with the Cincinnati Bengals. Play their entire careers for the Bengals with one another. So call it 12 years of being teammates. And Clint, after you retired, you were back home. You were having a date night with your wife Kelly. I think you guys were at a nice restaurant in Roswell, and you saw AJ Green there. I love this story. Please tell everybody what happened at dinner.
So AJ walks in, and I was like, oh shoot, there's AJ. And so at some point in the night, I get up to go to the bathroom, and I stop by his table and I say hey to him. We're chit chatting, and I think he was there with his wife. I can't remember for sure, but I mean, we talked for a couple minutes, nothing crazy. And I end up going to the bathroom after. And after I come out of the bathroom, a manager of the restaurant comes up to me and he goes, excuse me, sir. We really like to keep, some of our celebrity guests here at the restaurant, let them have some privacy. So if you could make sure you don't go up and, talk with him again, that would be great. And I was like, I've played football with this guy for like 11 years. I know him personally.
That's
and
so
I'm like,
funny.
I'm not, I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I knew the guy.
No way. They didn't look at you. They didn't look at you like, yeah, I wonder if this guy plays football too.
Yeah, I guess not. So I got too small.
That's the best.
Man. Gosh, Clint, were the Bengals the only team you play for in the NFL?
Yeah, I was there my entire career.
Yeah.
So
Do you have any?
Clint, I want to
overlap?
say you're the last offensive lineman that the Bengals have signed to a second contract. Isn't that correct?
What?
that is a interesting stat out there. Yeah, that was, and I signed that deal in 2015.
No
Clint Boling
way.
is the last Cincinnati Bengals offensive lineman that they have signed to a second contract. So think about that.
Wow. And actually, probably the next guy would be another Georgia guy, Amarius Mims.
He's in line. I don't know if I told you this, Drew. Did you play with him, Jake?
No, we didn't have any overlap, but me and Amarius kind of are connected at the hip because we're both from Middle Georgia. My head coach in high school was his head coach in high school.
Okay.
So,
But this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was leaving, getting back from the airport, and I'm just walking through Hartsfield, and I see this absolute monster, and he's got these dreads up at the top of his head, and I'm like, I see him, I'm immediately like, that's Amarius Mims, and I've never met him before in my life. And so I walked up to him. I said, "What's up?" We chatted for a couple minutes, but he might be the biggest person I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of big people. I mean, playing offensive line for 8 years, I mean, there's a lot of cats that came in and out of the locker room with some size,
Dang.
but man, is he one impressive offensive lineman, like looking at least. I mean, he's obviously a good player, but man, he is enormous.
Nice guy too.
Oh,
Yeah.
like the sweetest human being ever.
Oh, he immediately is, "Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?" Like,
Oh,
you know.
cool.
No, man, dude, he's awesome, man. Salty the earth human being. Just a middle Georgia guy. Like he's awesome. And like I think he's still growing too, which is the crazy part. Like he's really young. I think he's still growing. Just massive human. He's super athletic, can do all things. So man, really hope he puts it all together and has a big year this year. So
Yeah.
That's actually funny. That's crazy. Bengals. The last guy signed to an extended contract was you, and it could be the next guy be Amarius Mims.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Exactly right. That's awesome.
That's
Clint, going back to your Georgia days, Stacy Searles was your offensive line coach at Georgia. Mike Bobo, your offensive coordinator. Obviously, Coach Bobo is still the offensive coordinator. Coach Searles no longer the offensive line coach, but still on staff, still helping out. We talk about it week after week during the season and even in the offseason, but just how different the game of college football is. You're still very close to the program. You go to a lot of practices. You go to a lot of games. What's your general thought on the Dogs right now, just with how things are going and Kirby Smart's staff heading into 2026?
Yeah, I got to meet the I believe his name's Rauscher.
Yeah,
the,
Phil
the new
Rauscher.
O-line coach. I met him briefly last fall. He seemed like a good guy. When he was there last fall at the practice I went to, I mean, at that point in time, he was an assistant O-line coach. But seeing how active and how he was running drills and how hands-on he was with the guys, a lot of those assistant guys, they kind of back off. They don't want to step on toes. But he was really engaged with those guys. And, I like the stuff that he was telling guys about shooting his hands and different things like that. So, it feels like they probably, Coach Searles has been doing this for a long time too. I mean, he's an old school offensive line coach. I mean, he's tough, hard-nosed, and in these days and age, I mean, some guys, you yell at somebody too hard or you don't like the direction that somebody says, you're like, I'm just going to transfer. So like back then we didn't have that option. Like if you didn't like Coach Searles, you ain't going anywhere. You got to come in the next day and buckle up again. So, he's an old school line coach. I personally really enjoy playing for him. Like I said, though, he was tough. He was hard. It wasn't for everybody, but, at the same time, you're trying to motivate, 15 overweight high school kids and getting them to, run around, play fast at practice, and then do it again the next day. I mean, so he had a big job back then, but, I enjoyed him and Bobo were just kind of fed off each other, and they would get rolling a little bit. They definitely didn't make things easy. But I enjoyed my time with those guys.
Clint, are the old school offensive line coaches, like, is that a dying art? Are there going to be many of them around very, very long?
I think it is, man. You just can't, like the transfer portal changes things. Like you can't yell at guys and motivate them. Like, you have to find different ways to do it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And, to lead by, toughness and making things hard. I think it's just it's a different day and age. And I don't see it, if Coach Searles was, getting his foot in the door to coach offensive line today, it'd be a lot harder for him to have the career that he did. Back then it was just so much different than it is today.
Yeah,
So,
I never played with Coach Searles, but I guess the old school offensive line coach that I got kind of exposed to was old man Coach Callahan. I
yeah.
went up to Cleveland and did like a mini camp with them. Man, he was putting guys through practice before practice.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, just absolutely brutal for guys. And I don't just see it being a thing anymore because you just have to be a little bit softer.
Yeah.
It's just a different game now. It really is.
We did the same thing at Georgia. What was that, ABCD, when we all do the special team stuff pre-practice, and O-line would be out there too, and that'd just be an extra 20-minute Indy session for him.
Just grinding.
O-line Indy, baby.
Grinding.
Yeah.
Clint, what would you you started damn near every single game you played at in Georgia. What you got into the starting rotation, I want to say fourth game your freshman year, fifth game your freshman year, but then you had an amazing career of consistency with the Bengals. What would you say to a high school O lineman or a young college offensive lineman right now? What would be your biggest piece of advice for success?
I would just say never get too high, never get too low. I mean, you're going to have bad plays, and it's like, you can't go in the tank after the bad play. It's like, what do you do next? Everybody has bad plays. Everybody gives up a sack. Everybody gives up a pick, throws a pick or whatever. But, you just like, that's the mindset of an offensive lineman to me. It's just like even keel, like you step up to the moment, oh, it's a 2-minute drill. I got to be on my A game. That's the biggest thing. It's just consistency. You might have 1 to 2 bad plays in a game. Don't let it happen back to back. But at the same time, to me too, being able to play multiple positions, like don't just be a left tackle, be a left guard and a right tackle, or if you're a guard, learn how to snap, like play multiple positions. And then that way it also makes you understand what the whole O-line's doing. Because when you understand like the cons, if you're just like, hey, I'm going to learn left guard and only the rules of left guard, it doesn't really work that way. You need to learn what the whole group's doing, learn what the tight end's responsibilities are, learn the protections. Where's the quarterback going to be? Because if Jake told me he's going to be a 3-step drop and the ball is out, then it better be out at 3 steps. And if you hold on to it, you're on your own, buddy, because I'm protecting that way. Like I'm going to go be more aggressive. And if you're doing the deep drops, then, you kind of have to be a little bit more passive, but understanding the offense and understanding multiple positions and being consistent, I would say would be the 3 biggest things.
Yeah, I laugh at that, Clint, because the amount of times I heard that from older guys during training camp or spring ball. Hey, if you do that, you're on your own, buddy. You know, like, hey, I'm doing my job. Hey, it says it's quick game, and if you hold on to the ball, that's on you.
Yeah,
or I got stepped on or something. Like, hey, what's going on? It's like, dude, you're at 5 yards. That's on you.
I didn't really understand that until I got into the NFL about like knowing where the quarterback is, and like seeing the older guys, like you just said, talk about it, where it's like, hey, if I'm a left tackle and it's deep 2 jet and you're going from 9 back up to 7, you better be back at 7 because I'm setting exactly the way that I want to have to run him by the quarterback. And so it's just, I'm sure you got that a ton as a rookie. So that's a big thing. And then that was the other thing too. We would all throw the quarterback under the bus all the time. Like, during the huddle, did he say it was on 2 in the huddle? No, he never told us.
Oh my gosh, man! During training camp, everybody it's just the nature of the business, man. Everybody's out, has to look out for themselves. Like, no, he said it was on 1. What do you mean? Like, no, all other 10 guys knew it was on 2. That one's on you.
That's too funny.
Like, man, offensive line guys, love you guys, man. But I will say, I never knew how important flexibility was on the offensive line, and being able to shuffle around. Like, if you're not a tackle, you have to be able to play all 3 positions inside. Like, if you're a guard, be able to snap the ball.
100%,
big time, and like that is a huge deal. And man, the more being able to help other guys, pass information along, who's the mic, who's moving, all those kinds of things, man. It is so important.
I think I logged a snap at every position on the offensive line. Now my center snap was like end of the half. The starting center and backup were the starting center went into the locker room and I just snapped it and they took a knee. But a lot
No
of
way.
snapped it. I was always kind of like the third center in a game. It never really happened, but like I have like maybe two snaps at center in my career.
Really?
What team was that against? Do you remember what game that was?
I couldn't remember that. It was early in my career. We had somebody get banged up in the game, then the backup came in and he got banged up, and it was just like, but he was going to finish the game, but I just had to like get us to halftime.
Was it Andy? Was Andy the quarterback?
Yeah.
Dude, man, because me and Andy are the same size. Like that would be awful for you to play center. I'd be like under center, and like my hands would be straight out, like in my chest. It wouldn't be.
Center's a different world too, man. That nose guard's right on top of you. Guard, you're like, I'm going to try to get as far away from the line of scrimmage as I can. And that center dude, that guy's right there on your face.
And usually some big old boys too. Hey, speaking of that, who did you despise going against? Like, who just gave you all kind of problems?
Drew and I have talked about this before because Drew went to high school with him, and that was Cameron Hayward. And I could tell stories about him all day, but we started playing sports against each other in 6th grade. Started playing like basketball and football against each other. Then he goes to Ohio State. He was at Georgia for the same official visit as me that weekend when I went, when I was already committed. He got drafted, first round pick to the Steelers. And I have this story too where we played them. Obviously, they were in the division, so we'd see him twice a year. And I mean, he gave me all I wanted every single game. But, one of these plays, he walks me back into the quarterback. Andy gets hit by me as he's throwing the ball. And we're in film room the next day, and we're watching the film. And the coach pulls up that play, and he runs it back 5 or 6 times. And I have my hands inside. I'm low. I'm in a good spot. He just walks me back. And the coach is like, I've watched this play 50 times, Clint. I can't figure out what you did wrong. Like, what do you think happened? I was like, to be honest, I felt like I was in a pretty good spot too, but I think he's just a lot bigger and stronger than me. And he kind of nods his head. He's like, I was thinking the same thing.
Cameron's still going too, man. I mean, still in the league, all pro, just signed another extension. And he's massive. You saw him recently, big fella, still big and strong.
Yeah, big fella, man. Great
but you
guy
went up
too.
against, Aaron Donald, JJ Watt. I mean, you've been up against all the big dogs.
Yeah. Cameron was just always the one, just being in the division, I think stood out more than anything else, just because I would see him twice a year. When we played the Texans, I'd get JJ, and he moved around so much too, where he'd line up over the right tackle, right guard. So like in the course of a game, I would get, call it 20 snaps against JJ. And then I wouldn't see him again for maybe another 2 years or something like that. But Cameron did not change his positions. He was lined up over the left guard almost 100% of the time, and we saw him twice a year.
And you said he would not talk to you during the game until afterwards, right?
We almost, like, I've known him since I was in 6th grade, and like I can't tell you, like, we'd walk past each other off the game, and he'd just be like locked in. And I'd see him in an off season, we'd chit chat or whatever, but like after the games, there was no communication ever.
I saw this actually from Jason Kelsey. I know we were talking about him earlier, but he was actually just asked that same question, which defensive lineman gave you the most fits? And he was kind of racking his brain. It's like, I could give you the typical answers. However, honestly, he goes, a lot of backups did, because I wouldn't see a lot of film on them. These guys are still so good. They'd come in the game fresh. I wouldn't really know what their moves were. And then he started rattling off some backups, like the backup tackle for the Cowboys, the backup D tackle for the Eagles. He was like, for the Giants. He goes, these guys would give me fits because they are so good, and you just don't get enough chances to really prep for them.
Yeah, we would spend hours in the week of watching film of a guy, like going line by line of those starters. All right, here's our plan of attack. I got to get my hands on this guy early, or I'm going to sit back and this is his best move. After he bulls, this is his counter move. So like, you don't have enough time to get those backup guys and watch all that film, and they might only have, 10, 15 snaps out there. So like that is a tough part, like not knowing what those guys do. And you're just like, oh, is this guy quick? Is he speed? Is he power? I don't know. Let's figure it out here soon, I guess.
It's like you guys need a better backup quarterback to give you a better scouting report.
That was Jake's job. I love it. Well, Clint, we got a couple more minutes here. I want you to tell everybody what you're up to now. I think it's a really, really cool gig. You're back in a football capacity. Tell our audience what you are up to now on the professional side.
I just started this recently, but it's a fellowship with the NFLPA. They have these positions that are called player directors. And these guys are a group of former players, and they're effectively a liaison between the union staff to the players. So they will be the guys that will show up at the team's facilities. They have a certain amount of visits that they're responsible for with each team, but they'll be in the locker room. They'll interact with the guys if there's worker comp, player benefits, compensation questions. They will take that back to the union. They may steer them in certain directions. Sometimes they can answer their questions. Especially now, workouts started. I think today, today is the first day of workouts with new teams, with new head coaches. So during the off season, the OTAs, there's a number of rules that these teams have to follow about practice times, and there's phase 1, 2, 3, and you can't have competitive. It's supposed to be non-contact. So the unions will also monitor those practices to make sure that they're following within the guidelines of what they're supposed to be doing. And then especially this year, they just hired a new executive director with JC Treader. They're looking to renegotiate the CBA here in the near future. So you'd go into the locker room, see, hey, what do you guys want? Where are you guys at on 18 games? What are your thoughts on this revenue structure? And so you get their thoughts, and then you take that back to the staff, or it might be a message that the executive director has that you'll communicate to the players. So that's the position that I'm in right now.
Dang, I did not know that, Clint. So anytime I have a PA question, I'm definitely coming to you now. So appreciate that. Hey, I got one for you though. What are your thoughts on the Friday games not counting as a short week? Did you see that?
I did not see that, so I'm not aware. So is that during like the Christmas weeks once high school?
Yeah, during the holiday weeks, Friday doesn't count as a short week anymore, and so they can still have 2 Thursday night games and have a Friday game. So that doesn't count. It gets their 2 limit for a short week game.
I'm not aware of that, but I would also say that shouldn't be accurate. I mean, anything that's less than a Sunday to Sunday or that week, that time frame, I would consider a shorter week. But
that's what I thought too.
I mean, it affects your routine and the way that I had an exact routine when we play on Sunday and had a Sunday game. Then I knew exactly like, hey, this is my protocol of what do I need to do to get my body right for next week. And anytime you'd have to get off of that, I would consider it a shortened week. But I'll have to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it was out of the owners' meetings, Jake. You're right. It is now deemed not a short week on those Friday games. There was also some talk and some speculation about potentially having a Thanksgiving Eve game in the coming seasons as well. So that would be Wednesday, Thursday, of course, Thanksgiving Day, and then the Black Friday game that they have. And then, of course, the Sunday slate as well. So the NFL, the behemoth that it is, the best sport in the country, there's no doubt about it. Clint Boling now in the throes on the business side, helping out as a player director, fellowship of player director role with the NFL Players Association, which is just so awesome. So glad that you're back in the swing of things with football. Glad that you're back in the podcast swing of things with us here on Punt and Pass. Longtime friend of the pod. I mean, going back, way back, 2017, I think you were a co-host with me a couple of times in the first ever season of Punt and Pass. He's a great friend of mine and of Jake's and of all of Bulldog Nation. Clint Boling, thanks so much for joining us, man. For everybody out there, continue to tune in. Follow us on social media. We're at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram, at Drew Butler, at Fromm Jake. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching on Atlanta News First as well. Big shout out once more to our special guest this week, Clint Boling. Have a great Masters week, everybody, and we will talk to you next week. See ya.
Yeah.